We've missed you too, Brian. We missed you a bunch.
Doing good. Doing good.
Good. We're glad you're with us tonight. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. The rain is messing up a lot of things. Most likely, it's already messed up the Braves. We'll get into that a little bit later this evening. Tomorrow night football is going to be quite interesting. We've already got turnover problems throughout teams. I haven't even got to the Titans yet. So this rain could cause some serious havoc here in the Murfreesboro area. Now, we need it. The pond is dry out at Christiana.
The pond is dry. You know, we just don't want it to be overflowing. We would just like for it to be just like meet its like kind of winter pool or summer pool or whatever it needs to meet, just not the overflowing. So we want some rain, just not the deluge.
Just don't want to see the cows floating down the creek, that's for sure. Our show tonight, as always, is brought to you by Ideas Tees. It is the place in Rutherford County for school spirit wear, screen printing, embroidery, specialty items, and more. Plus, all of your officially licensed MTSU Blue Raider merchandise from Raider Tees. For Blue Raider tees, polos, hats, and more, visit their showroom at 910 Ridgely Road. Just turn off Broad Street between Chewy's and Chili's. Ideas Tees can put your logo on just about anything. Stop in and see how they can help you promote your favorite team, workplace, or organization. Find out more online at ideastees.com.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
If your old unit needs a tune-up, the professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air service all major brands and even offer same-day service in most cases. Keep your home or business comfortable year-round. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Ring Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com.
We're talking now with Heather here at Carpets by Osborne. What are some of the advantages that Carpets by Osborne has?
Being a family business and being locally owned and operated, we do free estimates. We have our own subcontractors that work for our business. We will come out, look at your floor covering. Throughout the whole process, you deal with an individual. You're not passed off to different contractors. We handle it from start to finish.
Carpets by Osborne on Northwest Broad, next to Tire World.
At Little Caesars, get a large custom 2-topping pizza for only $7.99 when you order online. Wait, did I just say $7.99? Get out of here! This pizza is only $7.99. No way! This is $7.99? You're joshing me. You're saying this pizza perfection is only $7.99? Well, you're crazy for this. Listen, pirate, stop taking my $7.99 pizza. Choose a large custom 2-topping pizza for the unbelievable price of $7.99 when you order online. Only $7.99. What?
Pizza.
Parks Auction. We handle everything.
You have a staff that comes to your home. They tell you what to do. They walk you through it. It's been my experience that what I thought I should get for my home, I got much more for it.
Visit our website at parksauction.com.
Hi there, Parks Auction, 896-4600. Stan Vaught and the Parks Auction team are proud supporters of local high school and MTSU sports.
It's not just a home or a car. I'm State Farm Agent Celeste Middleton. We see your home and car as the time and memories you put into them. Give me a call at 615-895-2700 and let me help you give them the protection they deserve.
Local business owners, you know how important it is to be here for your customers. I'm State Farm Agent Dana Womack, and I run a small business in Rutherford County, too. I'm here to help you protect your small business. Call me at 615-900-0877.
Is your car running like a dream, or does it need a little TLC? At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, we treat your vehicle like it's one of our own. Let's hear what some customers have to say about Dr. Automotive.
Been coming to them ever since he opened up. Good family. I recommend to other people to get them repaired here because I knew they would do it and do it right. Been happy to send people to him because I trust what he does so much.
We're crazy about him. It's all about the doctor.
For quality care you can trust, visit Dr. Automotive in Smyrna. We've got the cure for your car.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
All right, we're back, and we're going to recognize some high school fall sports. Things are wrapping up very quickly. There is a huge game going on right at this moment at Riverdale High School. It is Siegel And Riverdale, the winner, gets the number 1 seed for the district tournament in volleyball. So there's a big crowd, I know, over at Riverdale right now cheering on Siegel and the Lady Warriors. The district tournament starts October 3rd through 5th over at Blackman High School. So good luck to those 2 ladies' teams. We'll turn over to soccer for a second. Soccer is finished pretty much as far as the district's concerned. Monday night, Riverdale plays Rockville in a 4-5 game. Tuesday night, Oakland and Blackman playing a 2-3 game, and Siegel, who won the district, is sitting and waiting. That's the place to be, sitting and waiting.
Sitting and waiting. You know, Siegel, they have traditionally been one of the strongest soccer programs in the county, have they not?
They've played really good. They've played really good soccer. Oakland's been strong recently, too, as well. Stewart's Creek playing super. They're 7-0 in the district, 13-1 overall. They have 3 district games remaining, but they're sitting in first place in their district. And finally, let's talk a little golf. I'm a fair weather golf fan. Now, John Dinkins is a golfer. I'm not a golfer.
John Dinkins is one of those guys that he kind of sets the bar for everybody else. You know, you hope you can get to play with him. I haven't been lucky enough yet. I can say that.
I'm not good enough.
I don't get the invite.
I don't get the invite, but it's probably because I'm not good enough. Brian, does he bother you about the schedule that y'all run here at WGNS because of his golf game?
No, but he does kind of schedule his golf game around some of the work. So midweek, he's usually playing golf somewhere. So we'll have to get you, Danny, and John hooked up here maybe to take in a game. Maybe we'll even do the special game on the radio or something.
I would be honored. We need to go play the new Old Fort. You know, I haven't played there yet. I haven't been lucky enough to play there yet, but I've heard that Old Fort Golf Course is magnificent now. The greens are supposedly some of the best greens around here. As far as they switch it to like a hybrid type grass, and it's supposed to be really nice.
Well,
you were supposed to play golf this weekend, weren't you, Danny?
Supposed to, and our league tournament got moved. We don't know. We were supposed to play out of town somewhere, but I'm trying to get them to move to Old Fort next Sunday is what I'm trying to get them to do. I don't know if we can get on because a lot of people are wanting to play Old Fort because, like I said, I think it's immaculate. It was already in good shape, and I think for a municipal course was one of the best that you could find anywhere. But from what I hear, these improvements have put it off the charts.
Well, Clark, I guess you're going to have to, maybe join me and call. I've played golf once, and I vowed never to do it again. So maybe you and I could call, whatever golf with Danny and John and do that on the air.
I play 4x4 golf. I'm driving through the woods and the rough and all that stuff.
What we do is we just play a scramble. That way, you hopefully you pair it up with a guy who's halfway okay, and that way it doesn't really matter if you shank one in the woods. So what? You just play your partner's ball.
Well, there's some kids playing better than halfway okay. We'll start in District 10AA, the golf tournament at Cedar Crest Golf Club in Smyrna. Top 3 teams advanced, and the top 5 individuals will also advance if their team didn't advance. In the girls' side, Central Magnet won over Stewart's Creek and Rockville. That's the 3rd straight district title for Central Magnet and head coach Clay Burns. In the boys' side, Rockville, their 4th straight district title for coach Kevin Jones, followed by Oakland and Blackman. Rockville was led by Milligan University commit Aiden Sinclair, who shot a 2-over par 74. That's who I need on my scramble team. Other boys advancing: Camden Williams from Siegel, Austin Goff from Stewart's Creek, Everett Smith from Central Magnet, Noah Utley from Riverdale, and Cohen Quigley, a freshman from Stewart's Creek. On the girls' side, it's Maisie Bailey from Siegel, Ava Kalman from Smyrna, Isabel Gaskins from Oakland, Reese Nichols from Blackman, and Gabrielle Voss. Voss. We know that name, don't we, Brian Barrett? Gabrielle Voss.
Yeah. She's got to be a much better athlete than Daddy for sure.
I was going to say it's Mama's gene pool.
It's got to be. Yeah. This is her second straight year to get to regional, so proud of all those girls as well. But, yeah, I'm going to say something to Michael tomorrow night. I'm going to make fun of him, but he knows where he ranks in his family. Over in 6A, Eagleville's Anne-Marie Oliver, 8th grader, playing on the high school team, shot an 83. She's going to state tournament in Sevierville, 8th grader.
I'm going to say this about Anne-Marie Oliver. She is a generational athlete. Grandmama and Grandpappy were both star athletes at Smyrna. Grandpappy was quarterback. Grandmother was an outstanding basketball player. her mother was a great basketball player at Smyrna, and her father played football at Smyrna. So she's like a third-generation star athlete. Congratulations to her, and I would say that she's got some very happy people, because when you see, doing things, and I wasn't a real big doer in high school. I played and all that stuff, but my kids were all pretty good. And when you see your kids or your grandkids do it, man, it's so much more just so much more rewarding than when you did it. So I'm sure she's got some really happy people in her household.
Absolutely. PCA girls golf team, they won another district championship over at River Bend Country Club in Shelbyville. Isabella Johnson, a Tennessee commit, shot a 3-under par 69, and the PCA will attempt to win their 4th straight regional title on Monday, weather permitting. Brian, something that weather is not permitting, and that's the big series down in Atlanta versus the Mets. What's going on?
Yeah, so Atlanta is expected to get, double-digit rainfall from this storm, and of course it started last night. So their storm totals are predicted to be anywhere from 10 to 15 inches. And so with just the deluge of rain yesterday and with the storm coming in tonight, I mean, they're expecting winds could be hurricane force in Atlanta with the gust. So this storm is really going to kind of ride up right through the center of Georgia into the mountains of East Tennessee and the Carolinas, and then make its little curve over and start causing us problems. But that's the reason that they pushed it off. They're going to play a doubleheader on Monday, a traditional doubleheader, which will be starting at 11:55 airtime. And, one thing that I hate about it for the Braves is they really had their pitching lined up really well, and this is going to mess that up, I'm afraid.
Well, that's what I was wondering, whose pitching was going to be better. So quick look at the races. I'll start in American League because it's pretty much set. Baltimore's in the wild card. Kansas City and Detroit are pretty much tied up. That's a problem. I need Kansas City to go ahead and get into playoffs, Brian, because that's who Atlanta's got next.
Right. And so I'm not sure what needs to happen there, but the Braves have got to bank up every win that they possibly can. So I would say that they're going to play, the next 5 games, 2 in 1 day, as, like that's a playoff series.
Well, it makes it very interesting. You wanted those games to count, Danny, at the end. And if it comes down to Monday's doubleheader, that's going to be, it's going to be good baseball, but it's going to be a little bit nuts.
Well, it is, but I think that as a playoff team or a contending playoff team, you want to be playing to win every day. And if you have to win your last 5 games, and when the playoffs really do start, you've already kind of got in that mode. You're already in playoff mode, and I think that's a benefit. I really do.
Well, whoever wins on Monday, if it matters on Monday, they're going to turn around and play on Tuesday, right, Brian? Am I right on that?
I think that's right. And one thing that we have seen in recent history is that those teams that are having to play a play-in game to decide, a league champion or, to get a wild card spot, or that have to play, their last 5, 6, 7, 8 games just to get into the playoffs. We've seen those teams and those wild card teams just get really hot. And, John and I were talking the other day, it doesn't really matter, if the Braves win the National League East or not. If they can get in and they can be hot at the right time, you never know.
But, I'm guessing there could be a chance if the Braves get in and the Diamondbacks get in, the Braves could play a doubleheader on Monday, then expect to fly and play on Tuesday in Arizona?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if they will shift that around or not, but Atlanta, and I don't know if anyone else is having these problems that have to make up these games. But what can you do? Monday is an off day, and Tuesday for the Braves, it was an off day, and now they're playing. So I don't know if they've got some built-in time there, if they switch that from Tuesday to Wednesday. I don't know that they've locked in times just yet.
Well, Kansas City, of course, is coming to Atlanta. Hopefully it'll clear up by the time they start their series. Detroit is playing the Chicago White Sox. I don't think they're going to be affected by the rain. The Diamondbacks are playing the Padres, and it's probably 75 and sunny there. So
like it is every day.
It's really, this could be a good thing for the Braves. Like you said, Brian, they could get hot and just, they won that first game, so I was excited. And then the rain is coming and shut us down a little bit. So we shall see. So Braves fans.
Interesting thing about that second game that they were supposed to play, which would have been tonight's game, that was actually a makeup game from April the 14th or April the 10th. That was a game that was rained out, snowed out, something happened then. And so now it's been delayed twice. So they weren't really expecting to play on Thursday. They had originally they had a Thursday bye or off night and then would play through the weekend and were off on Monday, where some teams still play Monday. So now they filled all of that in. And if they don't get in this series with Kansas City, I mean, I guess the only thing you can do is double up and play maybe on Saturday when the weather does look better down there. But boy, talking about 2 double headers in 3 days would be rough.
That would be very rough. And then, you know, do you get into crazy scenarios about going somewhere else to play each other just because of playoffs? And then what happens is, let's say the Braves tank versus Kansas City and the Mets beat Milwaukee and it doesn't matter. Would Major League Baseball just say, we're not going to play for that benefit for the players?
Maybe. I doubt it, because you've got rosters. I mean, you could put whoever you wanted to out there, honestly, at that point. I mean, we've seen that in games that don't matter that much. But the problem is the rain is still going to be around in our area and down in Atlanta tomorrow. So tomorrow's game is kind of iffy, you know, but I think they're going to try to get that one in. But, I mean, if they get 10, 15 inches of rain in Atlanta, what's the playing surface going to be like?
Exactly. Talking about games that don't matter, I'm going to segue into the Tennessee Titans. They're 0-3. They're at the bottom of the barrel. Brian said he hated them this week. Talking about pigskin picks.
Well, you know, I think that we have to keep it in perspective. It's only 3 games, guys. Come on now. It's only 3 games. But I guess I don't keep up with all the what ifs and the whatevers. But how many teams that have started 0-3 make the playoffs? Because isn't there like some kind of statistic that if you're at a certain point, it's very, very, and it's because it's so hard to make up ground once you dig the hole deep enough.
You have asked an excellent question that I do not know the answer to, but I'm saying I would think that would be very, very low statistical probability. You got the Bengals, Jags, and Titans, by the way. They're 0-3, so you can pick your poison there. If you want to fuss, you know, we've been fussing the last 2 weeks about Will Levis. You know, he leads the league in turnovers. That's not a good thing to lead the league in. He's 28th out of 31 quarterbacks in QBR ratings. Not good. But I felt sorry for the boy on this past Sunday. Brian, did you get to watch the game?
I watched enough of it until I had enough of seeing Willis, you know, run up and down the field and throw to everybody, and Levis just throwing to, you know, the Green Bay Packers. By the way, 2.5% chance of making the playoffs with an 0-3 record. Only 4 teams have done it. So
there you go.
See, look,
bam. See, that's
why we got Brian
award winning. I'm going to say it one more time. Award winning. That's why.
2.5.
Levis is too interested in selling Hellman's mayonnaise right now, I think, than playing quarterback.
And he's got some other commercial for some drink. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. Terrible. Well, we got more than a 2.5% chance of coming back right after this commercial break.
Since 1966, Fans Heating and Air has been a symbol of quality for Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. For friendly, complete service on Amana, Bryant, or American Standard Heating and Air products, Fans will do it all. Sell you your choice of products and then install it with their factory-trained, experienced, professional staff. In the unlikely event you need service, Fans will be there with trained technicians. Fans Heating and Air is located on Jayhawk Court. Call 615-893-7930. Fans Heating and Air.
We're catching up with Anne-Marie Brents at Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive, another one of our great local businesses.
Yeah, it's a big family business. Knowing that my grandparents started it, to see it evolve and what it is now, it's just been really cool, and I love it. It's just something I'm very passionate about, and customers have been great to us as well.
Whether it's a quick meal, feeding the whole family, or catering, Rick's Barbecue can handle it all.
It's really something I'm really passionate about, very blessed and thankful for.
Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
If you're a homeowner with a quarter acre or several, Las Casas Feed Supply focuses on premium feeds and dog foods you won't find in the box stores.
Nutrition is our specialty here at Las Casas Feed.
Family owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, inviting you to stop by, visit, and enjoy the country.
Customer service and expertise that exceeds your expectations.
Las Casas Feed is also your place for local milk from the MTSU Dairy on Barlow Lane, just off Highway 96 East in Las Casas. Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
People love to see us on the schedule when they have a home game because our fans show up.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
The way we travel is just phenomenal. Our parents and our community are fully engaged in our school. When we compete, we're trying to do it in a way that honors God. We want to win. We also want to do it in a way that pleases Him.
Providing Christian values and academic excellence in a nurturing environment. That's Middle Tennessee Christian School. Invest in the future of your child. Find out more at mtcscougars.org.
Genesee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Here's Dr. Russell McKissick with TOA.
We have a passion here for taking care of our athletes here in Rutherford County. We really do our best to take care of them.
Experts in joint, bones, and muscles.
Many years we've been taking care of athletes around here, and we've just picked up where Dr. John started, and we just keep going.
TOA has a playbook that gets you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. TOA, live your best life.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
All right, we're back talking a little bit more about the Titans. Brian mentioned Malik Willis, who we traded and got rid of. 13 of 19, 202 yards and a touchdown. But the running, which we knew he could do, 73 yards, 6 carries, and a score was tough. But I mentioned I felt sorry for Levis. Now, again, his stat line, 26 to 34, 262 touchdowns. Not horrible, but another pick six, and he was sacked 8 times. 8. I didn't see 8 sacks in a high school game recently. You know, we've got Coach Callahan. His dad's supposed to be the offensive line guru. You know, one of his tackles, I swear, again, I've said it every week, I could block better than him, Danny.
You think so? Well, because you could like lay down in front of somebody or something, right?
Well, that's all that guy did. He seemed to lay down. But, you know, we all know, if you can't protect the quarterback, you can't give him time. I don't care if you're Joe Montana or who you are, you can't complete passes.
If you don't have time to throw, that's one of the keys in the pro game is, well, at any level, you have to protect the quarterback because, like you said, you can't get the ball off if they're all over you all the time. And the thing about it is the pro game is really dependent upon being able to throw the football. I mean, you know, I'm still a believer that no matter what level it is, you have to be able to run it. But at the pro level, you got to be able to throw it too.
Well, the Titans are still 5th in defense, but the untimely mistakes, I'll call it that way instead of just saying dumb, the untimely mistakes. 3rd down and long, we gave up the first downs. We couldn't tackle, we needed to tackle. Jeffrey Simmons, probably our best defensive player, got a penalty on a missed field goal, and the Packers went down and scored. So when you're not playing well, you can't give away freebies. We see it again at every level. The Titans are heading to Miami. Briner's, I'm assuming the Hurricane will be out of that way by Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm so glad the 0-3 Titans are going to get a national stage. One more point about Levis. Last week in a loss, even with the pick six, it was his best week at quarterback, stat-wise, everything. But, you know, they lose by 2 touchdowns. You take the pick six away. Then it's a 1-score game, you know, almost. And
take away the Simmons penalty. We're tied.
Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, that's a huge difference in that game. So I think there are some positives to pick from it. And it's the offensive line. If that doesn't get better, I mean, Levis is going to get killed before the end of the season.
Well, he's running for his life. He takes big hits. He's not getting blocked for. The boy's trying. You can't say the boy's not trying. It's just frustrating. Like you said, Monday Night Football is not going to be a pretty event for the Titans to go down to Miami. early pigskin picks, the Titans will probably win because we all picked the Dolphins. We all picked them. All right, let's transition just for a second, just to mention, since we're talking a little pro sports, the Preds. Are you a hockey guy? You like hockey?
I'm not really. I've been to a few hockey games. I'm not really a hockey guy.
I'm not a big hockey guy on TV, but going is a lot of fun. It's time for the Preds to start their first openings, their regular season games. They're playing preseason right now. Their season starts October 10th. I saw that today. I was like, my goodness. And then I thought, well, I wonder when the NBA starts. Well, they start mid-October. So you've got all your pro sports fixes coming up here in the next few weeks. The Vols on the road at Oklahoma. Were you impressed, Danny, with that statement?
The Big Orange defense is as good, or they played as well against Oklahoma as I've seen a Tennessee defense play in a long time. And that's what you mentioned it last week on the show, because I talked about how I like the dynamics of the quarterback, his dual threat capabilities, all that stuff. And you mentioned the defense. You said, man, the defense is what. And you are right. You're right, Clark Blair. Like your wife tells you all the time, Clark Blair, you are correct. That defense,
Wrong.
that defense really is getting after it. And, there's a kid, number 7, that used to be wearing the purple and gold, that is flat playing his tail off. That's Mr. Arion Carter. Had a lot of big hits. Was very impressive how he gets after the ball. But he's not the only one. They have got a ton of good football players on the defensive side of the up there and on the hill up there. It's really, really impressive.
And it's fun, you mentioned Arian, when you see Tennessee kids playing well, because Arian and then Boo Carter as well, both of them had different times in that game. They came out like a missile and just hammered Oklahoma a couple times.
Well, the thing that I told people about Carter when he was a senior and he was getting all these recruits, and I was getting asked about him, man, who's this kid? Who's this kid? I said, well, look, there's 2 really important things about him. He can flat run, and he loves to hit. And he does. And that's the makings of a good football player and a great defender.
And according to Coach Heupel, he's really just now figuring everything out in their defensive scheme, which is a scary thought if he's figuring it out, plus being as athletic as he is.
No doubt about it. And, the thing about it is I think his body is maturing a lot. His sophomore and junior years at Smyrna, he battled injury a lot. So he really didn't get – he played quite a bit both years, but he was limited because of injury. So his senior year is when he really burst out of the shell, and that's when all these people started recruiting him. And I'm really, really happy that he chose the University of Tennessee just because I'm a Tennessee guy. But I think that he's maturing physically. He's understanding the game mentally a whole lot better now just because more action on the field. So no, I'm really super proud of that kid. And he's an outstanding young man also. I'm going to throw that in there too. Great football player, but an outstanding young man. And everybody in Smyrna is very, very proud of him.
Tennessee jumps out 22-3 at the half, ended up winning 25-15. Brian, they've made a lot of talk on radio and after the game that Heupel scaled back his offense. Good thing or bad thing, do you think?
He's got a very young quarterback, and although he is dynamic, scaling back may have been a good thing. And by the way, I just want to point out, if you can see in the little case behind me, that is a signed ball from Arian right there.
Ooh, nice.
I got this week.
Really?
Yeah.
This week?
Mike Parks got it for you?
But, yeah, to get me. But, the thing that I'm impressed by with Tennessee is they come out and they punch you in the mouth and they take you really out of your game immediately. It was 21-3 to half?
21-3.
Yeah. So, they the previous 2 of the 3 games, they've only played a half. And, when they're scoring so much, they really, I like that mentality. I like the fact that they're going to come out and they're going to punch you in the mouth and see what you can do. They've got some tests coming up for sure. But I think that was the first big one, and I think it meant a lot to Heupel to win at Oklahoma, a place that was pretty special for him.
Well, there's no doubt about that. He kind of downplayed it all week. A lot of people have said different things about the offense in the second half. I kind of agree with the thought that I think he knew he had it, and I think he knew not to try to overdo it when he didn't have to.
Well, there's no need to, because, at all levels – They look at film and all that stuff. So there's no need to throw any more cards on the table than what you have to. And they didn't have to, because when being up like they were at halftime and the physical presence that they had in that football game, especially early in the third quarter, there was no need to do anything special. You just do what you do to win the football game, and that's what they did.
Well, I'll tell you somebody who didn't do what they needed to do, and I hate to say it because I'm always a Vandy fan. Vandy again had a chance, big, huge win on the road at Missouri, got it to overtime, and young man, you hate it for a kicker. Young man just missed a 31-yarder to keep the game going. Vanderbilt very well, easily, Brian, could be 4-0.
Oh, you're right. And the stumble, with Georgia State was one of those things where I think Vanderbilt fans went, okay, it wasn't for real. And then to go on the road last week, it's like, I know it was a loss, and yes, Vanderbilt just kind of has a cloud over them all the time, it seems like, in football. But the fact that they had a chance at Missouri, ranked team, to win the game, shows some progress. You couldn't have been much worse than they have been in the previous few years. So maybe Clark Lee is kind of putting things together here to build a team and making them competitive. If they were 4-0 right now, they would have shocked the world.
Absolutely not. I wrote in my notes, Danny, it's got horseshoes. You've heard the old saying, only win in horseshoes and hand grenades if you're close.
Well, that's right. And, moral victories, there's no column for moral victories. But I do agree with Brian that it has to give you a little bit more air in your lungs when you know that you went on the road and had a chance to beat a team like that, when you consider what has happened the last few years. But moral victories have been kind of the moniker of Vandy for a long time now, because I remember way back, I covered quite a few Vanderbilt football games way back, Woody Woodenhofer days, Rod Dowhauer days, those kind of things. And, Vandy would be 2-10, but have like 5 one-point losses or five losses by one score. And it's just kind of a familiar story for Vandy that, you close but no cigar.
Close but no cigar.
Had they not had that, big egg last week against Georgia State, I think it would have been even better for the program, even with an overtime loss at Missouri. Being 3-1 after that is a lot different than being 2-2 and losing to Georgia State, which was a team that kind of, I don't know if they snuck up on them or what, but that seems to happen to Vanderbilt. When they can get over that hump, then I think you can start talking about maybe getting into a bowl game down the road.
Tennessee and Vanderbilt both off this week, so they won't have to worry about the weather. Tennessee jumps back in, going to Arkansas. Alabama is coming to Vanderbilt on October 5th, so it's a little more of a challenge than Missouri, I do believe. All right, our last few minutes here in this segment, let's talk MTSU. Tough game against Duke. They're going to Memphis this weekend. Memphis is 3-1. They lost for the first time last week against Navy. Memphis is a good team. But, Danny, you talked to Coach Mason today.
Talked to Coach Mason before coming into the studio, actually. Pleased. There were some good things with the Duke game. I mean, the turnovers, man, that's one of those things where it really, really hurts your psyche a little bit because of those turnovers. But they gave Duke 4 touchdowns, 4 fumbles inside their own 20-yard line, I think. But MTSU ran the football. They ran the football well. They got off the field on third downs, which is 2 of the points that Coach Mason, that was 2 of his points of emphasis going into that game, and they were able to accomplish that. So he's still very encouraged. I think that, another week, another challenge, they've still got a lot of football to play, and so I think that there have been signs of improvement. He's high on a lot of his kids. And they're battling injuries, and they're doing the same things that everybody else has to do. Well, they don't have the depth of like Alabama or Tennessee or anything like that. So whenever they lose guys, man, it makes a big difference. But I think 13 new starters, he said, that they've had this year and stuff like that. So, it makes a big difference. But I think they are headed in the right direction, and there were some positives out of that Duke game, even though the turnovers wasn't one of them.
You mentioned the running game. Jaden Criddle, touchdown, basically the first part of the game to give him up 7-0. Ran 12 times for 125 yards, almost matched his career high. Defense played better. I mean, MTSU spotted them basically 28 points. So in that game, on the road at Memphis, though. Memphis was in the top 25 a week ago, and so that's going to be a tough road game for the Blue Raiders. That game will be broadcast here on WGNS, right, Brian?
Yeah, so 5 o'clock will be airtime with the pregame show, and it's a 6:30 kickoff for the game at Memphis. And, you know, the games that the Blue Raiders have played at home or in the state of Tennessee have had rain chances. Although last week we weren't supposed to have any rain, and it just so happened that the only shower that had some lightning in it was over in the whole southeast, was right over Floyd Stadium. So they had another long lightning delay last week. Of course, they opened the season with Tennessee Tech with that. So hopefully, even though they're in the state of Tennessee at Memphis at the Liberty Bowl, they'll have some better weather coming up on Saturday.
Yeah, I joked with somebody the other day. I said, I'm going to call Coach Mason, come over to the house and see if it'll rain.
There you go. Yeah. Well, a guy that, when you talked about defense, a guy that I want to talk about, Jonathan House, safety for MTSU. He's having a good season so far. He played at Vanderbilt. He was recruited at Vanderbilt by Coach Mason. He has transferred to MTSU. He's a redshirt junior. He's a guy that's been doing some really good things for them. He's got SEC experience, and I think that brings a little bit more to that defensive side of the football.
Well, that's a nice little jaunt across the state to get to Memphis on Saturday. We want to wish the Blue Raiders good luck there. You know, Coach Mason, we talked about before the show started, Danny, he just needs time.
Needs time. That's right. I mean, you know, when you, of course, like we said before, you need chicken if you're going to make chicken salad, but you need a little bit of time to stir that stuff up in the bowl and let it sit for a little bit, because it tastes a whole lot better after it's set for a little while.
All right.
But you got to have that chicken.
Got to have that chicken. Well, we're going to sit for a little bit, take some commercials, and we'll come back and talk high school football.
Choosing the right insurance can be overwhelming. That's where Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance comes in. At Rayburn, we're not just about policies, we're about people. Rick Hall will take the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage at the best price. We've been serving our community since 1973. So why not let Rick Hall take the stress out of insurance? Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency, where you're more than just a policy number. You're our neighbors.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Sir Pizza.
You can now order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com. We've made ordering online a breeze. From sirpizzatn.com, tap on the location nearest you and begin your order for carryout or delivery. You can order the Royal Feast, create your own, spaghetti, calzones, everything right from our online portal at sirpizzatn.com.
Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
You've heard people say, you know your work by your name, but there's no better name for residential and business concrete work than Dan France Concrete. From basic slabs to decorative stamping, for your next concrete project, call Dan France Concrete, 615-642-5152.
This is Dan with Dan France Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Trust me, Dan is committed to the community and will offer you a great product. He'll stand behind his work and make sure you're satisfied with every aspect of the work. Dan France Concrete.
Head over to J. Mullins Jewelry to check out their selection of rings, watches, custom designed jewelry, and much more. They're a local business located at 352 West Northville Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. They have gifts for all occasions, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, whatever you need, you can find it at J. Mullins Jewelry. That's at 352 West Northville Boulevard or online at mullinsjewelry.com.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
All right, we're back in our final large segment. We're going to talk high school football. It is hard to believe, gentlemen, we're over the halfway point of the regular season. We're starting week 6 tomorrow night. Quick recap from last week, and want to give some shout out to some folks. PCA improved to 3-2 as they won over Grundy County. Clint Mark's son Tatum threw for 78 yards and rushed for 99 yards and counted for 3 TDs. Middle Tennessee Christian lost to Webb. Briggs Boyd accounted for 200 yards in total offense through 2 TD passes and rushed for another. I think they're finding a young man they can depend on. Coach Floyd's Eagles got me a loss in Pigskin Picks because they hammered Huntland 48-14.
Exercised the ghost of Johnny Majors.
Well, sure did. Caleb Snitzer, 13 carries, 123 yards, and a touchdown. So good job, all those guys. Stuart Siegel failed at Hendersonville in kind of a little bit of a shootout, 35-27. Want to talk about the games we were at. You were at Smyrna Laverne. Not a close contest because the Bulldogs really had a great ground attack.
Dominated the game physically. They controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football and made some plays early to get out to a lead, and then it was just, kind of run out the clock and let's try to get out of here healthy.
Aiden Augustine continues to impress for the Bulldogs.
Runs the football very hard. He also is a good defender, but the kid runs the football very hard.
I was at, of course, Riverdale versus Rockville over at Rockville. Riverdale winning 42-7. Riverdale, if they can find their offense, which they found it last Friday night, they can be a very tough out for a lot of people. They went to Beach, lost 7-0, couldn't find the offense. Turn around now, have played 2 really good games, Germantown, and then, of course, against Rockville. Brian, you guys saw a very crazy. We were watching on our phones at Rockville, and really the fourth quarter, the last few minutes, it was anybody's game.
It really was. It was, an up and down game, but Blackman came out of the chutes and, had a 12-0 lead, a slow start for Oakland. And I am super impressed with what Matt Kreisky has done at Blackman from seeing them early on. And then last week, they're solid. They got great quarterback play, I thought. And their defensive line gave Oakland fits all night. Oakland was not able to establish the run game. They like to do a lot of, inside counters, and, they had to go to more of the try to beat them on the outside corner. And Blackman showed some team speed there as well. So, but give credit to Oakland. They gave the ball up. A lot of people thought that might have been it. Then Blackman gave the ball right back to him, and Oakland comes down to score. Then, that gave Oakland a 13-12 lead. But Blackman showed a lot of poise marching downfield with just seconds to play and set up a field goal. But got to give your tip of the cap to Kyrie Gaynor for Oakland. He has blocked 2 field goals this year, none bigger than the one last week against the Blackman Blaze, which the Blackman kicker, Burrow Bomson, had already connected from 36 yards out, and this was a 37-yard attempt. So, he had the range for that, but just a great block. And Oakland survives and wins, and now they're the number 1 team because there was a lot of shakeup in the top of the 6A ranks last week.
There was, and of course, Oakland undefeated, Riverdale 4-1, Stewart's Creek playing good football. But Brian, I think Blackman may be the surprise in the county.
Oh, no doubt. Last year they weren't in the playoffs for the first time in a while, and I think Coach Kreisky, the Blackman High School Matt Kreisky, I gotta specify now, but he had to do some things that a lot of coaches. It sounds good when you have to decide on the players that want to play for you and your program. It sounds good and that's good coach speak, but do you actually do it? And I think he did, and he's got those guys believing. I know it was a 1-point loss and there was some disappointment, but they can definitely build on that. And, for him, I'm sure he's hoping that there's no letdown against Siegel tomorrow night. And all bets are off when you've got wind and rain, and I'm sure you're going to talk about that, but could have some interesting games tomorrow night for sure. But Blackman is playing well, and I don't think they're going to be denied playoffs this time around.
I don't either. I think they're not going to have a letdown tomorrow night. I think he'll have that team extremely focused, if not a little bit angry from what they let go of last Friday night. So Blackman sitting at 2-3, 0-1 in the region, travels to Siegel. A lot of games on the turf, which will be good. Still going to be a little bit of a I don't know if you want to call it a bathtub bowl tomorrow night, some of these games, or what, but at least we're not playing in the mud pit. And so they're at Siegel. Siegel have been struggling a little bit, 1-4. I see the Blaze having a pretty good game there. Your Bulldogs, the Smyrna Bulldogs, they are hosting another turf game. McGavick.
McGavick comes in. It's a big game for Smyrna because it's a region game. It's homecoming, but it's a region game, and to go 2-0 in the region gives you a big leg up. So that's the thing for Smyrna, and I think that we may see if the weather is rough, we may see quite a bit of that power eye that Smyrna offers, which it's a punishing running game, and I know McGavick has got some size up front, but Smyrna's offensive line has been improving from week to week. So, and like I said, the power eye, man, I love that kind of football. And we could see a lot of that tomorrow night, especially if the weather's bad.
Don't see a lot of balls flying through the air tomorrow night, which will hurt Riverdale. Riverdale is hosting tomorrow night on the turf again. We got turf everywhere now. Coffee County's really running the ball well. That scares me a little bit for Riverdale. That is a little bit bigger challenge. You said the weather, the rain. Can we hand the ball off? Can you tackle well? That'll be interesting. But Riverdale, if they can, get the offense going well, should be fine tomorrow night as they host Coffee County. Brian, winless Laverne plays, and it's hard to say, winless Cane Ridge.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that a couple of years ago? Cane Ridge dominated this region for forever, and Smyrna finally beat them in the last year that they were really pretty good. And since then, there's been a shift, and Antioch is kind of the power. And I know you're going to talk about that game with Stewart's Creek, because that is a huge, huge game that's coming up there. But between these two teams, Danny saw Laverne last week. I just hearing Coach Woodward, I think they're struggling offensively. And if you're struggling offensively, and you've got the weather conditions that we could have tomorrow night, defense wins a lot of games that way. So I think you have to give the edge to Cane Ridge, but hopefully it's one of those games that Coach Woodward can find the combination and get things going and get the first win of the year.
I think it's a good chance for them. Like you said, they're struggling offensively. They are only averaging about 9 points a game. They've been shut out the last two, but Cane Ridge also, they've only scored 31 all season, so it may be one of those 3-0, 2-0 kind of crazy games in the mess tomorrow night. We shall see. Eagleville, they're going to have some mud at their field because they're hosting Wayne County. They're impressive on defense, Danny. They're only allowing 14 points or less. This is a good chance for them to pick up another region win.
Well, I think it is. Eagle has been very good defensively. If they can find ways to score and ways to put themselves in good positions off, field position battle, especially tomorrow night, if the weather, field position will play a huge factor. You want to, if you can flip the field with your punting game, or you have good returns or what have you, but field position can be very important. And if Eagle they want to get good field position, and they want to put their offense in good situations, because defensively they have been very good.
Eagle, of course, led by Caleb Snitzer. He's rushed for 513 yards, 7 TDs on the season. And all this wet weather, we talk about not throwing the ball, holding the ball, things like that. Probably the most important player tomorrow night is going to be the center.
Absolutely right, because you have to be able to make that exchange, because if you can't make that exchange, then things don't get rolling.
Well, and the thing with the exchange these days, Brian, most quarterbacks aren't under center, even at the high school level.
I know. I mean, that we saw that a bunch last week. That happened on one safety and one almost probably was safety. I don't know. From our vantage point, Oakland center snapping it over the head of Kyler Creasy. So we did see that a couple of times last week, and one which led to that safety, like I said. But you're going to have rain, yes. Can deal with the rain. I don't think we're going to have any lightning and things of that nature, which is good because you don't want to have games delayed. But here is, I think, maybe one of the keys to all of the games tomorrow night. It's going to be the wind. Going to have 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds and gust up to 45 miles an hour. And so the kicking game, you mentioned Danny flipping the field. That may be hard to do in a game if you're kicking into the wind. You may only have a 10-yard punt.
That may put a whole lot more emphasis on the coin toss, because if you win the coin toss, then you get to choose which way you're heading in the first quarter and the second quarter. So the coin toss may be one of the keys to a lot of games tomorrow night.
Well, it may we may have a lot of rugby going on tomorrow night with this water and who can bounce out and get out of there. Rockville travels to Oakland. Tough game for the Rockets tomorrow night as they go over there. Brian mentioned Stewart's Creek 4-1 at Antioch 4-1. Big battle for Region 5-6A. Both teams. You've got a Stewart's Creek team that really likes to control the ball and run the ball, and then you've got an Antioch team whose one loss was to Oakland, playing really well behind sophomore quarterback Andre Adams. For the Bears, so that's going to be a huge game. Antioch, I keep talking about turf. Cane Ridge, I think, has turf. Does Antioch have turf?
No, they didn't last year.
Don't think so.
I don't know. Cane Ridge doesn't have it either, do they?
Oh, do they not?
No,
Okay.
no. They don't. I don't know of any metro schools that have turf, but I'm not sure about that.
So it could get muddy and ugly quick in those games as well. Also, Middle Tennessee Christian travels to Friendship Christian in a battle of state championship teams from last year. Obviously different teams for both squads, but Friendship Christian at home will be a tough one for Middle Tennessee Christian. And PCA hosts the Kings Academy tomorrow night. PCA 3-2, continues to play well, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting call for you tomorrow night, Brian, in the rain.
Yeah, it will. And that PCA game being at Floyd Stadium will help that out, being turf as well. It's homecoming at Oakland tomorrow as they take on Rockvale. So I'm sure they're going to be glad to get in front of the home crowd over at Oakland for that one. And I did see from David Limbaugh a tweet. They were supposed to do turf dedication at Riverdale.
That's correct.
For all the sponsors that made that possible this past season, since they just put the turf in, and that has been pushed to the Siegel game. I think I read right.
Okay. Well, I know they're looking at different things to do. They moved homecoming in a couple schools trying to avoid last week's weather. It didn't come in. Moved to this week. So just like you got to play. You got to play. Weather, like Brian said, as long as it's not lightning, we're in good shape. So you guys will be at the Rockville at Oakland game tomorrow night. Hopefully your windows won't fog up too much as you're trying to call the game.
Yeah, it can't be any worse than the state championship game, Oakland and Houston last year, because it was raining so hard that the rain was cascading down the slanted glass, and there was no way to open it. And it was like looking through those drunk goggles, trying to call a game.
Looking through a windshield with no wipers, wasn't it?
It was crazy. So hopefully we'll have a good game tomorrow night. And, Rockvale looking to try to build on some things here, Clark. And, it's going to be tough to turn some things around against the Oakland Patriots. But I know that Coach Guthrie's looking to see some improvement in some areas.
He is. I know he is. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's on WGNS all weekend long.
Craig's Tax Service.
We perform tax preparation, individual tax returns, corporations, partnerships, and all your payroll bookkeeping needs.
Brandon Craig with Craig's Tax Service.
We fulfill all your tax preparation needs from individual returns to corporations and handle any of those scary letters you may get from the IRS.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We're proud to support all Rutherford County athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
Whether you're a student, alumni, or just a fan, Raider Tees has exactly what you need to help you cheer on the Blue Raiders on game days and every moment in between. We sell officially licensed Blue Raider gear, whether it's clothing, hats, flags, chairs, or just whatever. We have it all, including exclusive gear you won't find anywhere else. Like us on Facebook for updates on new Blue Raider gear and special prices or discounts. For all your Blue Raider gear, shop Raider Tees today. Bigger, better, and go blue!
Here's a question. What do you want from your electric co-op?
I want expert advice on going 100% solar.
I want to go green without breaking the bank.
I want to meet my sustainability goals.
I want solar to be simple.
Done, 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 done.
I want to save the planet.
Little hero, let's start with one of MTE's solar programs first. Energy Service Life. That's Middle Tennessee Electric. We're here to get done what matters most to you. Learn more at mte.com.
If your job situation is changing because of layoffs or restructuring, you may have to make several decisions. One important decision may be what to do with your retirement plan. Make sure your retirement stays on track. I'm Lee Colvin, your Edward Jones financial advisor, and I'd like to help. Stop by our office in the Public Shopping Center on South Rutherford Boulevard or give us a call at 615-907-7056 for a face-to-face appointment. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
Right, we're back finishing up. I just want to do this because Brian always gets to do it. I've got a Jennings and Ayers Funeral Home scoreboard update. Volleyball. Siegel won the first one, 26-24. So a little highly contested first match there. So, it's rocking over there at Riverdale. John Dinkins wants me to remind everybody that he's in first place in Pigskin Picks as long as he can keep it going.
Yeah.
But Danny Brewer had a perfect week, which is always impressive when anybody has a perfect week.
Every blind hog finds an acre, and that's all I can say.
Well, there you go. This weekend on WGNS, we'll have some Braves baseball if they're playing sometimes. We're hoping tomorrow night you'll pick up some Braves baseball if you get a chance. But, of course, tomorrow night, Brian, John will be over at Rockville and Oakland game at Oakland High School. Saturday, you can catch the Coach's Corner starting at 9 o'clock, and then Middle Tennessee football later that afternoon. The Braves, possibly the doubleheader, if everything works out. You can hear that on WGNS this weekend as well. So lots of sports stuff. It's going to be rainy. If you can't get out to a game, there's no better place than just sit and listen to WGNS Radio. Call it for you. You can see it also live, can't they, Brian?
Yes, if it's not too windy and rainy tomorrow night. I don't know if I can't pay a camera operator enough money to go up there in 40-mile-an-hour winds on top of the press box, probably.
I figured that's supposed to be Dalton's job tomorrow night.
Yeah, he's already pawned that off.
Well, I will say, if you haven't had a chance to see Big GTV, you need to take a look at it because, again, the other night when we were over at Rockville, we jumped right on it and watched the end of that Oakland-Blackman game. So Brian, that's been great.
Well, we're working on, it's just the beginning. It's going to take some additional technology to make it work like we want it to, but we hope this is something that will take us into the next generation of high school sports coverage. So we got fingers crossed for tomorrow night.
All right. Well, fingers crossed that everybody's safe. Everybody's, healthy tomorrow night after the ball games. Danny, of course, you'll be at the Smyrna game. I'll be at Riverdale. And so we'll send you some updates. And so we'll be back next Thursday night. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Appreciate it.